What is up, guys? The Australian Charizard here, bringing you another Pokemon TCGO video. And the deck that I'm going to be focusing on today is the Genesect Virizion Raichu deck. Now, believe it or not, this deck has become really popular lately because of the extremely overly use of Yveltal EX decks. And it's also a very, very nifty way to get around Lugia EX because Lugia and Yveltal are weak to thunder or lightning types, however you want to say it. So, yeah, that's why we have our trusty good old Pikachu and Raichu. So we're running a slightly heavy line of them, not too heavy, but we just want to make sure that we can get them into play if something does go wrong, or we do happen to go up against those, decks that are really powerful but are weak to the thunder types. So, one of our main attackers here, very strong, is Genesect EX. Now, Genesect has the ability Red Signal, which basically when you attach a plasma energy from your hand to this Pokemon, you may switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with his or her active Pokemon. So that works as a free Pokemon catcher, so that's definitely a handy little ability there, just to make sure that you can pick off those Pokemon that don't have very much HP left, or you just want to finish off a freshly benched Pokemon EX with G Booster, which has some great synergy with Genesect EX. So I'll just get into that in a moment. So we can use Magola Cannon. It does 120 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So that's a powerful attack, but to top it off and make Genesect even more powerful, we have G Booster, and that is our ace spec for the deck, and most people that are running Genesect decks do have the G Booster because the attack does 200 damage, and that knocks out pretty much every single Pokemon, excluding of course the new Mega Evolutions, but this basically pretty much knocks out everything. So for 2 grass and a colorless, you can use this and you discard 2 energy to this Pokemon. It's not affected by any effects on the defending Pokemon either. So it's just a straight 200 damage every time. So that is definitely a very powerful card, and it's a great choice to have it in this deck. So we've also got Virizion EX here, and the ability Verdant Wind is pretty nifty. Each of your Pokemon that has grass energy attached to it can't be affected by any special conditions. So that works well against burns and hypnotoxic lasers and asleep flips and all those different things there. As well as the attack Emerald Slash here, which works great with our Genesect and Raichu as well, because it does 50 damage, and you may search your deck for 2 grass energy cards and attach them to one of your benched Pokemon. So you can basically attach 3 energies per turn if you use an energy attachment, a Virizion EX, and yeah, actually you could also attach 4 energy per turn with Chorus Machine. So wow, that's definitely a very powerful attack there, because let's just say you have 2 or 3 benched Pokemon that you want to power up, you can pretty much get them powered up within 3 Emerald Slashes. So Virizion EX is definitely a very strong card to have in grass type decks, or yeah, maybe even colorless decks, I don't know, but you mainly see them in most grass decks because Virizion EX can just get those attackers powered up really quickly, and we're going to be trying to start with this Pokemon as well. That would be the ideal way to go. So we've got our Pikachu here, extremely cute, and we have our Raichu here. Now, important to note here, we're not going to be using the Thunderbolt attack. We're going to be using Circle Circuit. It does 20 times the number of your benched Pokemon. So if you have 5 benched Pokemon, you're doing 200 damage to the Yveltal EX and Lugia EX, which is a one-hit knockout on those extremely ridiculously overpowered cards. So Raichu is definitely a strong addition to this deck. You can change it with a Drifloon and Drifblim, and their attacks are basically for every special energy in the discard pile of your opponent, the attack does 50 more damage. So I might do a video covering that later, but for now we're going to stick with the more used one, which is the Raichu, and it's definitely more powerful in my opinion. We've also got a Jirachi EX in here. we're not going to be attacking with it, but the ability Stellar Guidance, just giving you that option to search for a supporter card, is definitely very helpful. So we've got Jirachi EX, and I believe it's a very good addition to this deck. We've got Chorus Machine here, which you can search your deck for a Plasma Energy card and attach it to one of your Team Plasma Pokemon. So we'll be attaching to Genesect if we get stuck there. We've got 3 energy switches, just so we can be conservative with our energy and make the most use of it. Alright, we've got 2 enhanced hammers, because a lot of decks these days, they run special energy. Those plasma decks run pretty much rainbow energies and plasma energies. Some even run double colorless energies. So does the Yveltal EX decks and whatnot. So just using enhanced hammer can set them back a turn or two, which just makes it extremely powerful and can really annoy your opponent. So enhanced hammer, we've got 2 of those. We've got 2 hypnotoxic lasers. Just, you know, we have the option to have that 50-50% chance of putting our opponent to sleep. And if our opponent does play Burbank City Gym, we can kind of counter them with that and use our own hypnotoxic lasers, which is very powerful. Just having that 3 damage going on to your opponent's Pokemon each turn is extremely awesome, and it does help with the 1-hit knockout KOs. So hypnotoxic laser, you can replace it for something else, but I'm kind of just putting together a little something here, and this is basically what I came up with, and we'll see how it works. So we've got a level ball, so we can search for our Pikachu, Raichu, and even Jirachi EX if need be. We have a Professor's Letter, which will allow us to search for energies. With Startling Megaphone, which is awesome. That's to get rid of Garboda's tools and just any tools in general, because we don't want Garboda to disrupt our abilities, because pretty much most of our Pokemon run on abilities. And they're very powerful, so we want to keep them active as much as possible. We've got Super Rod, so we can shuffle back in Pokemon and energy, which is discarded by G-Booster. We've got 3 Ultra Ball, so more Pokemon searching cards. We've got a Chorus. We'll be benching a lot of Pokemon to use Raichu's Circle Circuit attack, so Chorus is definitely a powerful addition to this deck. We're also running 4N, more shuffling cards. We've got 3 Junipers, so we can search for some cards and get a good hand if we're stuck. We've got 2 Shadow Triads, which allow us to search for a Hypnotoxic Laser. We can also search for a G-Booster and a Chorus Machine, as well as Plasma Energy, and we can search for them in our discard pile and put them back into our hand. We could also put a Genesect EX back in, but we won't really be doing that. So this is definitely awesome. We're running 2 of those. We've got 4 Skylers, more searching cards, definitely a powerful addition to the deck. We are also running 2 Sky Arrow Bridges, so the retreat cost of each basic Pokemon in play is a colorless less. And if you have a quick look at our Pokemon, retreat 1 colorless, retreat 1 colorless, retreat 1 colorless, free retreat here, and also Jirachi has a 1 colorless retreat. So when this stadium is in play, all our Pokemon have free retreat costs. So it's basically pretty much ideal, and definitely, what am I trying to say? What's the word here? It's definitely almost certain to use this card. It's almost, I can't even talk right now. I don't even know what words I'm talking about. No, but it's definitely something that you want to have in this deck, because the retreat cost of each basic Pokemon in play is 1 colorless less. It can help your opponent a little bit, but just having that free retreat cost for all our Pokemon is pretty much too much to pass. So we've got our G-Booster, which I looked into that before. Wow, what is wrong with me today? We've got 3 Muscle Bands, so the attacks of the Pokemon this card is attached to do 20 more damage. We've got 9 Grass Energy, and we're running 4 Plasma Energy. So that's basically our rough explanation of the deck. I'm going to pause the video, get into a match, and show you guys how it works. So let's see it in action. Alright, so we have found an opponent here, guys, so let's flip, and hopefully we are going first. We're going first, and let's hope we're starting with Virizion, because that'll be a great start, and uh-oh, looks like we're starting with the Genesect. That's okay. We'll have to see what we can do here. Alright, I'm not going to bench the Jirachi yet, because I don't really need to use Stellar Guidance right now. So, okay. I'm not too sure what I'm going up against right now, but let's just play this game with an open mind. So, what I'm going to do here, I really want to get a Virizion in play. So, I might Skylar here for the Ultra Ball. I'm going to use it. I might discard the Plasma and the Energy Switch. Okay, so I just want to get this Virizion into play so we can use Verdant Wind as fast as possible. We've also got our Jirachi there, which will allow us to, you know, search for a supporter just in case we don't top deck one. So we didn't start with our Virizion, so it wasn't really the best starting position for us, but we did manage to get it into play on the first turn. Hopefully we can get a turn 1 Emerald Slash in, but we will have to see how this goes. Okay, so my opponent here is going to Cheren, and you don't really see that card too often in decks these days, but hey, it works. Being able to draw 3 cards is pretty nifty. Alright, so I don't think my opponent did much that turn. Could be trying to bluff, but I might take the risk. I'm just going to attach the Muscle Band there, going to bench the Jirachi, going to use Stellar Guidance, going to bring out a Juniper, and we're going to Juniper for a fresh hand of 7, and yep, we can definitely get a turn 2 Emerald Slash in, which is what we want, and I'll tell you how we can do that. We can attach a Grass Energy to our Virizion. Ooh, and we've only got 1 more Plasma in our in our deck, so that's not too cool, but hey, we'll just attach that to the Genesect there. And because I just recently installed this onto my new computer, it's showing me all these retreat rules things. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, so we're going to retreat into our Virizion and get a turn 2 Emerald Slash for 140 damage, which will knock that out. And we can just attach just like that to our Genesect, so we can power that up next turn, and that's awesome. Alright, so let's see what my opponent is going to do here. Just concedes, so they didn't have anything. I'm going to probably have to try and find another match. Alright. Yeah, that didn't really show off this deck too much, so I'm just going to keep this active, and we're going to search for an opponent. Okay, I will show you guys our next opponent when we find it. Okay, so we found another opponent, and it took a really long time. I'm actually surprised maybe not a lot of people are online right now, but hey, what can you do? We're going to go first, which is awesome, and what do you know, we're starting with our trusty Virizion. Okay, so I could Skylar here for the Ultra Ball if we don't top deck it, or a Professor's Letter actually, because we have not got any energy in our hand. So, oh my. Lucky we did draw that Skylar. Okay, so we got a Pikachu, and my opponent is playing Ho-Oh, so, oh gosh, this is going to be an interesting matchup. We've also got our Genesect there on the bench. Okay, so we're just going to have to go with the flow here, see what we can do. I'm just going to Hypnotoxic Laser. Okay, and we did... Oh, silly little tips. Alright, so we did put that to sleep. I could Juniper here. I'm not too sure if I want to do that right now. I might just Skylar here. Look for the Professor's Letter, and we got it. So that is cool. Alright. So just getting those 2 energies into play is awesome. That'll allow us to go for a turn 2 Emerald Slash, which is awesome. Hopefully we can get a Genesect onto the bench, because that'll be a powerful turn. Alright. So I'm just going to attach a Muscle Band and an energy to our active, and my opponent stays asleep, which is pretty good for me. My Virizion isn't going to be attacked this turn, which is pretty nifty. It's cool. Alright. So let's see what my opponent can do here. So the Ho-Oh's ability, in case you guys are wondering, is Rebirth. So once during your turn, before your attack, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile. You may flip a coin. If heads, put this Pokemon onto your bench and attach 3 different types of basic energy cards from your discard pile to this Pokemon. And the Rainbow Burn does 20 more damage for each different type of basic energy attached to this Pokemon. So it can be pretty powerful, so we just got to be careful there and tread carefully. Alright, so I don't think my opponent did much except just attach an energy that turn, so I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to attach an energy to Virizion and hopefully... oh no! We do not manage to get... oh no, we did not get a... I can't believe it. 7 cards, really? And we couldn't hit one of our 3 Genesects. Oh man. Stop showing me these tips. It's getting annoying. Okay. Oh gosh, man, that was nasty. We did get the Jirachi, so we could Jirachi, use Stellar Guidance for a Skylar, and then get an Ultra Ball next turn. Sorry in advance if you guys can hear my dog in the background. He's going absolutely ballistic. For now, I might just Emerald Slash onto... I could Emerald Slash onto the Raichu and get that powered up. I might just end up doing that. So we're doing 70 damage, and there we go. Our Raichu is fully charged, and here we go, my opponent active wakes up. So that was cool, it stayed asleep that turn. And yeah, my opponent didn't do anything except attach the energy there. So I don't think he's got a very good hand unless he's bluffing here. So let's see what Hog Dog's Butter 1 can do here. Alright, so if we don't get End, I'm sure we could get our Genesect into play. Alright. Not too sure what my opponent's doing here. Most likely just thinking. Attached a fighting type energy to our Ho-Oh. What I could do is I could red signal out the Genesect, because our Ho-Oh there has a lot of damage onto it. I could end up doing that. So, alright. That looks like the way to go here, guys. So I'm just going to use our Jirachi here. Yep, we're going to use Stellar Guidance. And we are going to grab a Skylar out of our deck. Alright, so I'm going to search. Very important here to note, if our G-Booster is prized, then no, we've got it here, so that's awesome. Going to Skylar here for the Ultra Ball. Get that out. And I might just discard the Level Ball here. I could keep the Energy Switch. Actually, I might end up doing that. Alright. I'm not sure. No, you know what? We might just discard the Energy Switch for this. Alright, let's just get our Genesect into play. Start being aggressive here. I could red signal out the Genesect this turn, but we're going to get a knockout on the Ho-Oh this turn. Alright. So, I might just save that and just use another Emerald Slash for the knockout. Get our last Grass Energy in our deck onto our Genesect and take a quick 2 prizes. So that's really nice. And if my opponent can't get a Pokemon into play, it could be game over next turn. I'm going to hopefully try and go for the G-Booster. Not too sure if it'll pay off, but anything is possible. We've got our Chorus in hand. And yeah, if we don't get the G-Booster, we could just use Emerald Slash, and then if my opponent doesn't bench another Pokemon, we could just use our Genesect to finish off the match if Rebirth isn't used. So we've got two different types of energies in our opponent's discard pile. Okay, so we're going to see the Hypnotoxic Laser here onto the Jirachi. So that is a little bit of a bummer there. It's asleep as well. Oh god, so that could be an easy 2 prizes. Nope, it wakes up. Let's hope we can get a Sky Arrow Bridge or something. My opponent hasn't been playing too much at the moment. So, there is a possibility here that they don't have a good hand. So I'm just going to have to attach here to our Jirachi. Retreat back into our Virizion. And I'm just going to Chorus, because I don't want to give my opponent a good hand here. Alright, so we did get the Chorus machine, and if we top deck that Skylar, we would have been able to unfortunately get a G booster and finish off the match, but we're just going to have to resort to a Emerald Slash this turn, and if my opponent can't do anything, we're going to finish off the match next turn. Alright, so we got an Emerald, we do have a Grass type energy back into our deck, and I might just attach here to the Genesect. It's the obvious choice. Alright, let's see what my opponent is going to do this turn, and we do see a Latias EX, and that ability prevents all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon with abilities, and that is annoying. Lucky we've got our Raichu set up so we can do a decent amount of damage to this Latias EX, but that is definitely an annoying little feature. We are going to see Rebirth, and it failed. Oh man, that puts us in a great position here. I'm really excited now. We can knock out this Genesect with all the energy attached to it next turn. So, we've also got our Raichu, and that is a clean Raichu, completely set up, no damage onto it. So we can damage that Latias EX, which is great. But that ability is definitely annoying there. But we have to work with what we got. Okay, so my opponent promotes the Latias EX there. Doesn't know that this turn I can pretty much just G-Booster, which I might end up doing here. I'll tell you how I can do that. I will bring out my Genesect, attach a Plasma, switch out there. I could use the G-Booster here, but there really is no point, so I don't want a Skylar. Alright, I'm going to attach a Muscle Band to Pikachu, and I'm just going to Juniper, see what we can get here. We got another Pikachu. I don't really want to bench that. That could just be an easy target for my opponent. Alright, we're doing well. We have not gone down any prizes at the moment, and I'm going to save this Hypnotoxic Laser for that Latias, just make Raichu a lot more powerful. I'm going to bench the Virizion, so we have a full bench, and our Raichu is good to go. Alright, and we are going to Magola Cannon, and we do no damage, unfortunately, to that Latias. But, hey, what can you do? Now, if my other Raichu isn't prized, I could get that into play. And, ooh, my opponent's going to bring out the Keldeo, and that was a little bit silly because next turn I'm just going to win now. That is definitely a bit silly. I think my opponent's best option would have been to just stick to the Latias EX, because now I can just pretty much, hopefully draw the G-Booster next turn, which I'm hoping to do. I might just take a big risk and discard pretty much everything in my hand and just go for that. So my opponent does have the energy attached to the Ho-Oh, but can't retreat this turn unless he attaches to the Latias. But it's too late because we did... okay, no, we see a Silent going for 3 energy cards. But my opponent attached to the Keldeo, so actually my opponent can end up using a Rebirth this turn, because they'll rush in with the Keldeo, retreat with the double colorless back into the Ho-Oh EX, and then attack my Genesect here. Alright, so I'm pretty sure that is what my opponent is going to do. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But I'm feeling pretty confident right now. I've got a lot of Pokemon pretty much powered up. I've got a Raichu there, that's good to go. I've got my Genesect, that's fresh. I've got a Virizion, that could be good to go. And my opponent is going to be shuffling in a few different types of energies there. Probably going to go for that Ho-Oh. Okay, now we didn't manage to get a Skylar at all, so we could just play something risky here. We're going to bring out our Raichu, get that into play, which will be nice. Alright, now here we go, guys. We're going to take a big risk here. We are going to attach, and then we are going to use Red Signal and signal out. Doesn't really matter what I signal out, to be honest, because well, actually it does. No, we've won this turn with the I forgot Keldeo is weak to grass. But let's just try and go for the G-Booster here. We ended up getting that. We can discard that, getting the... I think it's lagging. So we discarded that. We can shuffle back all these energies into our deck. And then, bam, that is the game. 200 damage. And we'll do 20 to the Ho-Oh, taking our last 2 prizes. And that sums up the match. So Hot Dogs, Butter 1 just really couldn't do anything too much there, unfortunately. But hey, we managed to take the match. We didn't give any prize cards up, and I don't even think my opponent got an attack in that turn. We will see. No attacks in there. They did get the Hypnotoxic Laser on me though, but hey, we took that game pretty easily. So those were a few quick matches for you guys, showing you the Virizion Genesect Raichu deck. I might in the future do this deck again and show you guys how it goes against a Ibeltal EX deck or a Lugia deck. But yeah, as for the time being, I'm going to be coming out with a lot more videos for you guys, so subscribe and expect a lot more things from me in the future. I've got big things planned for this channel. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'm the Australian Charizard, and I'll see you guys on the next video.